Hello, lovely YouTube, it's Becky, and it's that time of year again. I'm going to show you how I store all of my pencils, my entire collection. Plus, I'm going to show you all of my crayons as well. I've changed the way I store a lot of my stuff this year, so let's take a look. First off, let's get the student crafty coloring book pencils out of the way first, because they don't really live with the rest of my storage. And at the moment, I have this set of Artix color pencils here. Ta-da! These are ones that I like to have for coloring book uses. Okay, I then have this bag that I take to work, which has my Faber-Castell Black Edition in. And in addition to the 100, I also have the skin tones. And the skin tones I like to have easy to hand, so I just keep them up here ready to grab, because if I'm working in a coloring book and I'm feeling a little bit lazy, that's how I can get access to some skin tones really quickly and get those done. And then in here is more coloring book pencils in case I want to travel, and I have the Derwent Color Softs and the Brute Funa Pastel Pencils. And I used to have all my pencils stored in cases like this, but what I found is it became a bit of a hindrance to coloring, and I don't like that. I liked having them all arranged, but as soon as you start collecting open stock colors or faffing around with which loop it goes back in, I started to get kind of stressed out with that. So I ditched that idea for all the pencils that were going to stay in the house. So we'll get to those in a moment. Oops. I also have two sets of the Prismacolor Colorase pencils, which are low wax coloring pencils that you can erase. They're really handy for sketching out things, doing your, your base sketches and stuff. And I have a set still in a wallet, this pencil case ready to go. But I also have another set out in my caddies because I lost that for a little while, so I bought some more. So I have some out in my caddies. Metallics, I'm gonna do a new video on my metallic stuff, everything stuff. But my favorite metallic pencil is the Derwent metallic, so I have those all separate. They don't need to live with the other guys because I don't really mix metallics too much in my coloring work, but there's something I want to do with metallics very soon, with combining everything, a mixed media metallic, if you like. So I will come back with a video on that. Now that's, I think, the pencils to get out of the way that are just scattered all over the place, let's take a look at the drawers over here. So magic camera number 2. Oh, there we go. All right. So over here, I have these. Now, these drawers are 7 Elements from Amazon, but I'll pop a link. I know you can get Meaden does ones and all sorts. These ones I quite like, though. So I've ended up with 3. I started off with 2, and now I have 3. So let's take a little look. Now, as you can see, I've numbered all of my drawers. From 1 to 18, and I can keep stacking up more if I want. And then I've also labeled the pencils that are in it. Now, some are combined, so I'll talk about that as well, because I do have coloring charts where I have combined. The first one is my ultimate, what I called my ultimate lightfast coloring chart, and that combines the Caran d'Ache Luminance, Derwent Drawing, and Derwent Lightfast. They all play really nicely, so I have those all together. Polychromas I have separately because they're kind of their own thing. They're a bit harder, and I don't really mix them too much with anything else. And then I combined my Prismacolor and my Chromaflows because they're very similar in playability. They're much softer. They work really nice. Pro colors are, again, their own thing. They're the hardest pencil that I have, so they're great for very fine details and hair. And then I go into my waters. So this is my Albrecht Dürer by Faber-Castell, my ink tints by Derwent, so I don't mix those. I keep those separate because those are traditional watercolor pencils and the only traditional watercolor pencils that I have. The ink tints are kind of permanent. They're supposed to be fairly permanent when dry, once they've been activated with water, but they're very vibrant and more of an ink formulation. But there is some discussion as to how much ink and how much watercolor they are, because they're a bit of a weird one. They're lovely though, they're great. Then I have my graphite tints, which is graphite based watercolors. You can use them dry, use them wet. They are again very different to everything else. Then I go into my crayons. So let's take a look, shall we? So when you open these, you get 5 compartments in each, and I have them arranged in color families. And that's another thing that's that I spent a lot of time on my color charts, is getting them all combined in color family order, not the manufacturer's order. And what I can do on my color charts, here we go, if I take these ones as an example, on my color charts I have and this chart wasn't mine, this is from the lovely Color with Claire, because this is my polychromos, and she did a really nice color family order as well. So she also does really nice color charts. But I write on there which drawer each color family can be found in. So these ones I've just scribbled on in pencil, where I can find these. And what I've done is, for each compartment in each set, is I go A, B, C, D, E. So if I'm looking for a pencil and it says it's in 1D, I know I'm looking for drawer number 1 and I'm going to D. So that helped me with accessing pencils fast. So I'm no longer unzipping different things and trying to find a particular color and hope that I put it in the right place. I can just look at my color chart, go straight to the drawer and go. And if I don't need my color chart, if I just want to pick, if I just know, oh, I just need a red polychromos, then I can just start where the polychromos start and pick out a red, nice and easy. So that's half the battle. The other half of the battle is putting them away again at the end. So I end up with like 100 pencils out. What do? So what I've been doing is going through and writing with a Posca. So I have a black Posca and a white Posca, depending on, is that going to focus? There we go. Depending on the color of the pencil, but I will literally write the compartment number that it lives in. I know this sounds like overkill, but if you are a bit neurospicy and things are holding you back from being able to do your art and to use all those lovely things, then these are the hacks and these are the tricks that are going to keep you going. Because I'm about making the art and keeping things as organized as possible. But I can't do that if I have to think really hard about tidying up at the end of the day before I can start the next project, or really think hard about getting things out for the next project. These are deal breakers for me, and I hate it. So this is what I've been working on the last year. So here we go. Some more polychromos. Then I have my Prismacolor and my Chromaflows all combined. Again, they're labeled or in the process of getting all individually labeled. It doesn't take too long. You just need to put an episode or something on and just battle away at it. More Chromaflows and Prismacolors. And I keep one of each. I try to keep one of each Prismacolor in here, and I do have a bunch of extra ones, and I will show you what I do with those separately. All right. So then we move on to the Pro colors, which again, much more firmer cores to those. And now we're into Watercolor World. These are my Albrecht Dürers. I use the same color family order as my polychromos. In case you don't know, if you're new to this range, they are identical colors. They are exactly the same color scheme in the Faber-Castell line between the pencils and the watercolors. And I do believe the Pick Pen colors also come in the same range, but just not all the colors. Then we move into, this is actually where the ink tints start, but because it was just one tray there, I decided to put the label down here. These labels also come off really well. I've been using the Brother P Touch. Okay, P Touch. This is the one I've got. And again, there'll be links to everything down below in case you want to go and treat yourself to some goodies. My ink tints more in there. Then I come onto the Graphitint, and the only extra one that I haven't actually labeled, because I don't think you can get many more, was the Color Tints by Spectrum Noir. This was their answer to Graphitints. So I just keep them in there together. I'm not going to particularly look for these ones, because if I'm needing a project, I know that it's like the Graphitint. I know they're in there. It's fine. And then when they're gone, they're not going to be replaced. Then these are my Neo Color 2, which are the water activated crayons. I did make a video on these comparing what the difference is between the Neo Color 1, the Neo Color 2, the Neo Art, and the Neo Pastel. Great video. Very detailed, I think for me. I pulled all the stops out for that one for you. So you can check that one out. And then I haven't got to these ones yet. I'm deciding, oh, here's a nice tip. I bought a bunch of stuff from Blick, like a whole bunch of pastels, and it came with all of these like foam things in the packaging. Blick does very well at making sure your orders are all shipped and packed up properly and safely. So I cut them down to put in here in case I want to go for oil pastels or soft pastels in these ones. But I'm just still on the fence of how to do that because I may need to buy more. But I do have my Neo Pastels ready to go in case I want to put them in there. I might do. I'm still figuring that bit out. But that's a nice little tip as well. You can line your trays for any of your messier mediums. And then finally down here, I have my Neo Arts and my Neo Color ones. And then